At this event today. I met Andy at a veteran discussion panel that I facilitated with other veterans. I'm a student veteran at Governor State University, and last semester I got to facilitate a group of classmates on how we commemorate war. Since my last deployment in 2006, I tried to block out commemorations and anything to do with war. When Adam asked me to speak, he told me to reflect on what memorial means to me. Wow, I thought that speech would take at least 9 hours. And I think it's safe to say everyone here doesn't want to sit through that. The college student in me thought, well, should I do this in APA or MLA format? And do I need to cite my references? Memorial Day to me is one that I relive every day. I don't just think about the 14 brothers I lost one day a year. To my brothers in heaven, Specialist Matthew Holly, Sergeant James E. Stepp, Sergeant First Class James Hayes, Captain Vincent Generoso, Specialist Sheldon Hawk Eagle, Specialist Michael Martinez, Sergeant Clarence Floyd, Sergeant Michael Ackland, Specialist Alexis Roman Cruz, Sergeant Michael Hancock, Sergeant Eugene Ewell, Specialist Richard Hafer, and PFC Travis Grigg, and PFC Joey Whitener. The legend of your lives has not been left untold. As long as there is a breath in my body, I will carry on your spirit with me and live my days honoring your memory. Because the worst thing we can do is to forget those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Ronald Reagan said it best, "We are forever indebted to those that have given their lives that we might be free." These men are the reason I try to be the best version of a veteran I can be for my brothers and sisters. April 28th of this year, I facilitated the bringing of Remember Our Fallen Memorial Towers to Wrigley Field in Chicago. These towers have pictures of all those that have fallen since the War on Terror began on September 11, 2001. The towers have two pictures of a soldier. One is of their military service picture, and the other is that of the one the family chooses. With the help of my family and friends, we set up these towers. And as a special moment that happens in the setup, as part of the process of setting up the towers, Gold Star families are asked to hang the panel of their soldiers. Families came from all over the country, and to watch the ceremony was somber, as I watched a father put his son's panel up as he wept, and a mother put her son's panel up with pride as she looked honorably at her son's picture and fought back the tears that would soon pour out. A hug was all I could offer, and we wept together. I cried for her pain. Nola Fritz travels all over the country with the towers, and she carries the stories of all those on the wall and retells them to others so their memories will live on. One such story is that of Jared Christopher Monty. He is a Medal of Honor recipient. Jared's father, Paul, was being interviewed for an NPR radio segment, and when asked what does he do to remember his son, Paul simply said, "I drive his truck." After hearing that, Connie Harrington wrote the song, "I Drive Your Truck," which would be later sung by Lee Brice and became a #1 country Billboard in 2013. Nola has a special interest in the towers as her son, First Lieutenant Jacob Fritz, is on the towers, panel 8-6 to be exact. Jacob was killed in action in 2007 as his base was infiltrated by insurgents. To be a part of this was one of the greatest achievements of my life's work. It's because I facilitated the towers to Wrigley Field that the founder of the towers in the state of Nebraska made me an honorary guest on a Purple Heart flight that took place this past Friday. The flight from Omaha to Washington, D.C. was filled with Gold Star families, myself, and other Purple Heart recipients. Our first visit was to Arlington. There, I got to see my brother's graves. As I closed my eyes to say a prayer, I listened to the thousands of people on hand that day, and I heard not one voice. No, I heard the rustling of trees, I heard birds cry, the clashing of fabric as two people hugged, and the sounds of a 21-gun salute. It was in that moment I knew I was in the right place in my life. I knew that all the struggles I had faced after my military service and all the pain of injuries received led me to the point where I was standing in front of my brother's resting place. Our next visit was to the tomb of the unknown soldier. Witnessing the change of the guard was another reminder of what Memorial Day meant to me and all those that were in attendance that day. The old guard soldiers that guard the tomb are focused and ready to defend the tomb, and they also don't talk. To honor veterans, there is a tradition of clacking their boots when they see a veteran. As a staff sergeant marched by, he clacked his boot at me. To then I replied a soft, "Thank you." It's these little moments that humble my heart and give me the dedication to honor my brothers. The most powerful moment of the day was visiting the Vietnam Wall. It was there I saw pictures, flowers, and pennies line the bottom of the wall. I also saw old men weep and hug other brothers dressed in motorcycle vests with patches that honor their brothers and their service. But more than that, it was a place I found my mother's cousin, Leopold Ayala Lopez. He was an Army sergeant, and he was killed on May 12, 1970. Dressed in a yellow polo, a volunteer etched his name for my mother's cousin on a piece of paper and gave it to me in an envelope. I sent a picture of the sketch to my mother and called her. I could hear the pride in her voice as her son helped to remember someone so dear to her heart. We ended our time in DC by visiting the Remember Our Fallen towers, which line the reflection pole at the Lincoln Memorial. As Nola and I locked eyes, we met and gave an embrace that felt long overdue. My first words to her were that Jacob would be in my prayers forever. She gave me 14 carnations to place at my brother's towers, and it overwhelmed me once again, as it did back in April. I talked to each one of them as if they were still here, because I know they live in my memories forever. That got me to thinking about those that made it back, such as myself. While I'm physical in presence, I feel a part of me has died over there. And there are things that I will live with. There are burdens that I will carry for the rest of my days on earth. I believe this is true for all veterans that served in war. That being said, no living veteran will ever say this day is about them, as they know the price was paid for them to come home from war. So I ask you, the public, to hug your veteran on this day a little stronger and a lot longer. Let them know that they're not alone, and help them lift the burden of the cost of war with just 3 little words: I love you. No veteran will ask this of you, but they will feel the peace overcome their hearts. Thank you for your time, and I leave you with this poem by John McCrae. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing, fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Justin Horvath, who will read To Those Who Serve.
Good morning. My name is Justin Horvath and I serve. It is important for each of us to know and reflect on the patriotic sacrifice that has come from our small village of Crete. When called in by volunteering, Crete men and women have served during all major conflicts and have stood guard during times of peace. Most served and returned to us, but some made the ultimate sacrifice, never returning. Yet, we the living will never forget. Their selfless act will forever be remembered. Today we call the roll. May their names echo endlessly throughout our village. The Civil War. John W. Cole, William Conskey, James Mulliken, Ira H. Chapman, Edwin C. Richards, Alfred Quackenbush, Robert Cave, George C. Hughes, Orland Hughes, Henry Casta, Conrad Engelking, Frederick Adrian, Myron H. Cook, August Meyer, and Edwin Horace Adams. The Spanish Civil War. John Brackman Jr., John Pape. World War I. One man never came home, killed on the very last day of the war. Martin Biesterfield. World War II. Kenneth Currier, William Lawrence Epley, John Fancher, Charles D. Ginn, Norman William Greasy, Raymond Emmett Hawes, Donald Meek, Francis Morris, Robert G. Ron, William C. Stenning, Robert H. Weeks, Harold Withers. Korean War. Gerald Leon Hare. Vietnam War. Nicholas John Brasio, Charles Gaddis, David Gores, Terrence E. Krasnowski, Glenn Allen Parks, John Norman, Greg A. Stisser. We remember these brethren, our heroes, our family. Let us do good work to ensure we will never add another name to this list of the fallen, lest we forget.